Hello, traders. It's 8:12 a.m. Chicago time on Monday, the 25th of November, 2019. Sorry about the delay in getting started, having some issues over here. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. A big reminder this morning that this is Thanksgiving week in the United States. You may have noticed that volume is just not there in the overnight session, in the Globex session, and it'll continue to be so through the rest of the week. I mean, the profile overnight was so tight, just 5 points of range, and that's likely to just kind of continue forward. So the leaders today are the European stocks, the Euro stocks, and the DAX are up about 0.5%. The Nasdaq follows. The market is in a risk-on mood. Crude is has pulled back to 57.21 on the low. Remember, that's the composite point of control. It's trading 57.36 in the January contract and is down 0.71. Hang on. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. So that's where we stand this morning. It's again risk on sentiment this morning with a gap up. That's it's interesting for a Monday, but that's where we are. Mike's a little hot. Let me turn it down a bit. It should be better now. Um, so what are we looking at for in terms of the week for a calendar? We got IFO Business Climate this morning for November, came in at 95 in line. And then tomorrow we get GFK Consumer Confidence out of Germany as well. And then Wednesday, durable goods orders, GDP growth, personal income, personal spending. And then Thursday is a holiday here in the United States, and but Europe releases business confidence, inflation rate, business confidence out of the Eurozone, inflation rate out of Germany, and GFK consumer confidence out of Great Britain, consumer confidence out of Japan. Friday brings us into GDP for France and Italy and India, as well as Canada, and then the Chinese have MBS manufacturing PMI in the evening. That's where we stand. Kaijin manufacturing PMI comes out on Sunday evening. That's been a mover. Comes out at about 8:45 p.m. This morning, really not expecting too much in terms of what the market is likely to do. We have a couple of auctions, but we also have Fed's Chair Powell speaking tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern with a couple of ECB speakers. So the mood for today, again, is risk on. There's been a couple of comments that the trade deal with China is still well on its way. It's very confusing depending on who you ask and what time of day and what cycle of the moon. You may get a different answer. So, um, also, the UK shows that there's a strong possibility that the Conservative Party could win an outright majority in Parliament. That has an impact on how things proceed with Brexit and so on. Let's take a look at what we expected on Friday. Let's make this as quick as possible. Friday, the primary scenario is a drop down into 3105 or so for a push higher. Expected it back into the composite um, the composite point of control at 3119. The secondary is a push higher into the overnight high of 3114.15, expecting it to find sellers and push back towards 3105, 3103. The third scenario is an attempt higher that finds sellers, brings us back towards 3100, and then just trading sideways with a higher low. Here's what actually happened. So what we had is basically scenario two-ish, three-ish, very difficult to tell. We could not breach the overnight high, and we ended up falling back into the range on Friday and trading around the point of control right in here before slipping farther into Friday's range. And then we pushed out and closed relatively strong. We have a P-shaped profile. We have a higher low, higher high, and it's a continuation of the higher low one-time framing up over the last few days. Again, a P-shaped profile here with a relatively weak high that was breached on the close. And note that that it finished. I can't really call this neutral extreme, although technically it is, because it's finishing right near the high. But it ended up breaching the initial balance high as well on Friday. So a pretty bullish close into Friday, and then the push higher makes sense. Here's the overnight session, really tight. Let's adjust the scale here. Really tight overnight session. We open up in the 3119 area, not surprising there. That's the composite point of control. And we are completely balanced and sideways with the volume being very, very low. This is likely to translate into the day session today. I would not stake too much on any one trade today. Be careful, as it's likely to be pretty choppy. I don't see, unless there's news out there, I don't see a reason for anyone to make a big commitment based on current conditions. Now we're still not far from all-time highs. This is the big picture here. Here's the MC point of control, 3119, the black line, and we're right on top of it, trading above the last couple of days highs and breaking back into balance. We have higher lows, as I outlined on Friday morning. We have higher lows and a pretty flat top right here. We've been struggling with this 3111 area, and we're above it. I'm expecting this to act as support if it pushes down into it. So there's the synopsis. The new all-time high was made at 31.28, and you can see there's sellers that came in immediately. So I expect today that we've rejected lower prices, we've rejected higher prices. So lower prices have been rejected down here. We've rejected higher prices. I expect us to be stuck here through the holiday. Not having a lot of faith in that the market will likely break out this week. I expect volume to be low. I expect it to be fairly choppy, as many people are off and not trading. So that's where we stand. In terms of the order flow, looking at CT Bookmap, the overnight session, as you'd imagine, is very tight. Look at that. That's the entire overnight session. There's not much in the full depth here. We do have some areas where we've got standing offers. The 3121 just traded. It's had an offer there for a bit. 3122 and 3125 above, and then below we have again support at that 3111 12 region, and that's all she wrote. There's really not all that much more to talk about here in terms of what we've got as a review. Um, as far as what we've got for today, well, let's take a look. I don't have it on the screen here, but I'm going to type it out. I want to remind everyone to just take a moment and sign the petition for the micros. I expect to meet with the CME next week, hopefully. And there are a couple people that are in town that I'd like to meet with on the MCL. Please take a moment. I typed it into the chat, the live chat on YouTube, and it's also in the video description on YouTube. So if you go back to the video description or beneath the video or get on YouTube, you'll see the link is ft71.com/MCL, all caps. So, what are we expecting for today? Today is really um, is really about being patient. I'm expecting an open auction. I do expect a reversion to the downside. I'm looking for a push into 15. If it gets into 11, that would be a surprise to me. I expect that there will likely be support somewhere up here, and then consolidation, push the overnight high and the low, and hold steady for the day. It is Monday, one of the lowest volatility days of the week, and I'm really not seeing a good reason for anyone to push in any direction. So secondary is an open auction that pushes higher and tests that 23. Remember the 23 from last week, early last week, and the early last week, Monday, Tuesday, push into 23, and then find sellers, come back into the opening range, and then go into the gap, and then also finish somewhere in between. I do not expect the market to extend, but it does not mean that the market cannot just climb and chop its way up on low volume and low volatility. So just be careful, set your stops anyway. Don't sit here and think, well, it's going to turn, it's going to turn, it's going to turn. And next thing you know, it's well beyond your stop limits. So that's where we stand in terms of what's expected for the week, given the way the market is postured. Again, Wednesdays is likely to be very, very dead. Thursday is a holiday, and then Friday is likely to be very, very quiet. I'll be here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will not be here on Thursday. Hope you enjoy your day. If you're gone for the rest of the week, have a happy Thanksgiving here in the U.S. and enjoy yourself. Good luck, and don't forget to sign the petition, ft71.com/MCL for micro crude, MCL all caps. Thank you.